Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
The Marijuana Commission moved from the Ministry of Health to the Office of the Prime Minister. MINNIS tells us why. A man charged in court for having sex with a minor. A security firm robbed and set afire. Plus, we have a taste of Malam.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert MINNIS is slamming the recent leak of the preliminary report from the Bahamas National Commission on Marijuana. MINNIS says the premature release of the controversial report was disturbing and blindsided his administration. He also confirmed the Marijuana Commission has now been transferred from the Ministry of Health to the Office of the Prime Minister to prevent any future leaks. Jasmine Brown reports.
The Prime Minister made the comments on the sidelines of a United Nations conference as he did not hold back in expressing exactly how he felt about the leak of that preliminary report.
I was very disturbed that the report had leaked out. I was very disturbed because it compromised my cabinet colleagues and myself. The press made statement, they asked us questions, we could not respond because we didn't see it. We were not privy to any leaked document. We were waiting for the official document, so we were compromised. So I was upset.
That was the Prime Minister's strong response as he expressed disdain over the leak of the Marijuana Commission's preliminary report. MINNIS also confirmed that the leak has prompted the transfer of the Marijuana Commission to the Office of the Prime Minister. However, he did not stop there. The PM also called the leak disturbing and troubling.
And I brought that commission into the Office of the Prime Minister where I can globally tie everything, and they were just as upset as I was that the document uncompleted was leaked out because they may have made amendments and whatever.
The transfer came after a draft of the Commission's preliminary report was leaked to the Nassau Guardian. The report revealed that the Commission proposes the expungement of all police records reflecting possessions of small amounts of cannabis. It also recommends the legalization of medicinal marijuana and the decriminalization of the possession of up to 1 ounce of the substance. When asked about the public push to have the full report released as soon as possible, the Prime Minister said that will happen once the Commission completes its work.
Be assured that when the report is completed, the press will be there. When the report is presented to the Prime Minister, the report will subsequently be tabled in Parliament, at which time you get a copy of the report, not this leaked out whatever it is. I don't know what is in that. I don't know what's the content of what was leaked out.
He added that any future government policy on marijuana will rely heavily on the final report's findings. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
A 31-year-old man was charged in the magistrate's court today for unlawful sexual intercourse with an 11-year-old. D'Angelo Francis, seen here with the cornrows, was charged with 8 counts of unlawful sexual intercourse with the child between September 2019 and January of this year. The Yellow Elder resident was not required to enter a plea to the charge and was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections. Also appearing before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt on a sex crimes charge was 36-year-old Zephyric Newbold of Malcolm Road West. Newbold, seen in the black hoodie, faced 1 count of procurement, with prosecutors alleging that the man attempted to procure a 15-year-old to have unlawful sexual intercourse. Additionally, Newbold was charged with 1 count of child pornography. Newbold was not required to enter a plea to the charge and was remanded to prison. A 26-year-old man scheduled to appear in the magistrate's court on a drug matter collapsed in court and later died, according to his attorney. Jared Higgs has more.
He started to shout and he was in excruciating pain.
Our News understands the man is 26-year-old JERMAINE ADDERLEY. His attorney, Keith Seymour, says he was in court number 8, appearing before Deputy Chief Magistrate Andrew Forbes on a drug matter. The lawyer says he walked in court around 10:30 with the tragic scene unfolding.
Court attendants were assisting my client. He was having somewhat of an epileptic seizure, and everybody in court was kind of concerned, but we really didn't know the extent of what was happening.
Before his medical emergency, Adderley was set to be charged with several drug-related charges, including possession of 1 gram of cocaine, possession of 7.8 ounces of Indian hemp with intent to supply, possession of 187 ecstasy pills, and possession of 21 grams of ecstasy. At some point during the episode, his attorney says a grim reality began to set in.
We just saw that he just stopped. He just stopped moving. And one of the court officials mentioned that, hey, I believe that he is dead.
Now, Adderley was previously charged in the magistrate's court with possession of several counts of dangerous drugs. His lawyer says many times his client got in problems. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
He was in custody from Friday, and I saw him at the DEU on Friday, on Saturday morning, 8 a.m. He was in good shape.
SEYMOUR says Adderley did not request any medication while he was in police custody, and he confirmed that he ate breakfast. However, the man's lawyer says his client had pre-existing medical issues. The attorney was emotional as he reflected on the circumstances of the 26-year-old's sudden death.
He is someone of my client for several years. He has been one that was caught the wrong place, the wrong time in some instances, and kind of when you build a relationship or a rapport with your client and to see something like that happen to a family, you know, you do feel it.
The court where Adderley died was adjourned for the remainder of the day. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
A security firm was broken into, robbed, and set on fire during the early morning hours. Police say the culprits made off with shotguns and jewelry. Italia Clark reports.
While Our News was on the scene, fire investigators shattered glass to gain access into the building. Now they also told us that a significant portion of the building was damaged inside. Police say it was around 4 a.m. when fire services officers responded to reports of a structural fire at a commercial building on CARIB Road. However, it was not until the fire extinguished that they discovered several shotguns, ammunition, cash, and jewelry that had been stolen from the building. When we visited the scene, the building showed signs of vandalism. COLLEEN, who lives just across the street from that building, tells us she was awakened by the bright siren lights.
When I noticed what happened, that's when I saw the light coming to the house. The fire engine lights. Then I jump up. When I open the door, all I see was smoke and fire engine.
Police say the building was extensively damaged. An employee was on the scene but declined an interview. Meanwhile, another resident of the area told Our News she was completely unaware of the dramatic scene unfolding near her home.
I didn't see anything. I was only told by my daughter that the fire was in a barren place. And that's all. When I came outside and looked, I said the place was up, but I saw the smoke.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Italia Clark.
Amid public outrage over government's plastics ban, which requires businesses to charge between 25 cents and $1 for each plastic bag, the Prime Minister insisted today that the public had more than enough time to prepare.
All of that was explained. The 25 cents was basically put there to prevent you from purchasing, so that the bags that were offered and given and distributed for over a year, you go to various different events, bags were distributed and given to individuals so that they can use those.
SuperValue owner Rupert Roberts has urged government to abolish the charge before the backlash follows the MINNIS administration to the polls. The charge is part of the legislation and is meant to serve as a deterrent to using plastic bags during the transition period, which ends this summer. However, consumers insist they should not have to pay for something that has been a built-in cost for businesses until now. MINNIS insisted such steps must be taken to protect the environment.
The 25 cents was, we went on a serious public relation marketing strategy, informing the Bahamian populace that this was going to happen, informing them the necessity of banning plastic bags because it gets into our waters, damages or causes death to fish, and therefore corals, our marine life. So the conch salad that you eat today, if we continue down this road with plastic, you won't have it tomorrow. The fish that you eat today, the boiled fish, you won't have tomorrow.
Still to come, stakeholders attend the United Nations Donor Pledge Conference. Plus, St. John's College pays tribute to a beloved educator. Stay tuned.
Alive. Believe in best.
Achieving so much with so little is just smart. Mastering the use of duct tape after having thought of several creative solutions so you can enjoy the KFC famous bowl from the Smart menu with creamy mashed potatoes, gravy, corn, popcorn chicken, and shredded cheese is just smart. With 33% more for the same low price of only $4 including VAT. Getting more for less. That's even smarter. Smart menu at KFC Nassau. It's finger-licking good.
Hear that? If you listen closely, you can hear the heartbeat of a nation. That unique sound of a great country pounding with colorful history, a rich culture, and unwavering ambition. When you look around, you recognize its pulse. The people who love to celebrate, who identify with triumph, a people who know how to be our brother's keeper. Commonwealth Bank, built by Bahamians, here for Bahamians. Bahamians helping Bahamians.
Phone is good. Internet is good. TV is good. But why just pick one thing when you can have everything with Tria? Only $99 a month gets you phone, internet, and cable. That's everything you need for $99 a month. Ask for Tria. Call 601-2200 or email residentialsales@cablebahamas.com. Rev, you and us together.
The Prime Minister is brushing off recent comments made by Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands, who recently told the Tribune newspaper that a multi-ministerial decision will have to be made to confirm that over 200 people have died due to Hurricane Dorian. When asked to respond to the Health Minister's comments, Minnis said this.
I go by the facts. The facts are there are 70 deaths. That's the facts. I don't care what it said. That's the facts.
The Prime Minister's comments came on the sidelines of the United Nations Development Program conference that was held to raise money for recovery and reconstruction following Hurricane Dorian, which ravaged Abaco and Grand Bahama last year. The official death toll stands at 70. Dorian caused an estimated $3.4 billion in damage. UN Assistant Secretary General Luis Lopez Calva told stakeholders that the international community is ready to help the Bahamas rebuild bigger and better.
Damages have been assessed at no less than $3.4 billion, but the domino effect on development can be far more costly unless we rethink how we plan, how we prepare, and how we build better and stronger.
Faculty and staff at St. John's College paying tribute to a veteran teacher who lost her battle with cancer last year. Bethany McDermott has the story.
It was a somber moment at St. John's College this morning as former students, colleagues, and friends gathered to plant trees in memory of former veteran educator Sherilyn McCartney.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord, let the earth hear his voice.
Sherilyn McCartney taught at St. John's College for more than 30 years. Former colleagues remembered her as a dedicated teacher.
To me, she really epitomized what it was to belong to the family of St. John's. The children were always nurtured by her. She always had treats. She always had money if a child didn't have lunch.
Well, she was a very dedicated teacher. You know, in our generation, we never really watched the clock. So we would come to school early and leave late. And she was one of those that you could depend on to stick around if you needed her to do anything extra.
She was their friend whom they could always rely on. They shared some of their most memorable moments with her.
She really loved to laugh, and when she laughed, she would chuckle and her whole body would shake and tears would run down her face, and you would be laughing at her laughing.
What I miss most about Mrs. McCartney is her kind heart, very generous. She was one you didn't have to ask twice.
So you can be assured that when that child left her room after 1 year, they definitely was a much better person than when they first entered her classroom. And I respected her for that.
Principal Dr. Knowlene Evans explains the significance behind planting trees in her honor.
Sherilyn McCartney was an individual who respected the earth, and she wanted the children and her colleagues to become good stewards of the earth. And having a farm Whatever she had, she would bring to school. But in addition to that, she encouraged students to plant their own trees.
McDonald died on July 5, 2019 from pancreatic cancer. She was 68. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
The oldest private school in the Bahamas celebrating a major milestone today. Queens College, which operates as a grant-aided institution under the Bahamas Conference of the Methodist Church, is celebrating its 130th anniversary. Staff and students kicked things off today with a special service. Principal Reverend Henry Knowles says celebrations won't end there.
This anniversary service was the launch of a year-long event. We have induction to our Queens College Hall of Fame. We have the Comet Ball. We have coming up as well, we have QC in the Park, which is like a family fun day to get alumni back on campus. We have various types of social fundraising events of different categories in order to get things connected and to get us fired up for what the future is going to bring.
It all began in 1870 when Reverend Henry Bleeby, chairman of the Methodist Church of the Bahamas, proposed to the Methodist Missionary Society in London that a Methodist school be established in the Bahamas. On January 13, 1890, under the theme Queens College, the school opened its doors. Former students who now work at the school shared how Queens College has evolved over the years.
Within the curriculum, there's been a huge change. Back then, we used to do the O-levels and the A-levels. Now, of course, in the early 90s, they introduced the BGCSE examinations. And that changed the whole format of what we had to teach and how we had to teach it.
There have definitely been a lot of infrastructural developments. When I was at Queens College, the Q Cafe had just been built. However, when I came back now as a teacher, they have even expanded on that. So there's an additional section to the cafeteria. There's a new high school block. They would have expanded with even more primary school classrooms, and so I've seen a lot of infrastructural developments.
Director of Operations and Marketing, Katherine Beneby, says they have high hopes for the future.
We deal with adult education and lifelong learning, and so every day we're committed to helping our Bahamians grow and develop, and so we're committed and we are targeting our alumni, the general public. Everyone needs further education.
Still to come, the Rosewood's newest restaurant takes you on a culinary adventure to India. Stay tuned.
Will weave be banned? No. Plastic bottle? No. Things like saran wrap? No. Plastic surgery? Garbage bag, Ziploc bag, baggy bag which you make baggy in? No. Cup and baggy forever. As long as it's not within the forbidden, it's straight. Contact the ministry today to speak at your event, gathering, or workplace so they can educate you on the 2020 plastic ban.
This is how it feels to consolidate your debt with Bank of the Bahamas. And this is how it feels to reduce your monthly payments. Come discover the new BOB, offering debt consolidation loans at the lowest rate in town. And guess what? You can get cash in addition to cleaning up your finances. That's how it feels. Apply today for your BOB debt consolidation loan. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Sweet Santa Claus, or he's a strange man from a mysterious land who's looking to sneak into our home, to smuggle dubious packages after gathering information about us. He breaks into our property while we sleep. And what do? Welcome him. Because it doesn't matter how different we may see, if we simply choose to see the good in other people.
A big thank you to Cable Care Foundation. They basically was the first organization that gave us any form of funding.
We use the funding that they give to us to have a better avenue to helping the kids.
This organization is primarily for youth development. At least 65% of our grants must be designated for youth development.
I got our first set of drums through Cable Cares.
To date, we have almost 15 of those drummers off on music scholarship. Kids are getting the exposure internationally. They have performed at the Battle of the Bands at Howard University where they got first place. They performed at the Macy's Parade, chosen over 170 bands plus.
Cable Bahamas Cares Foundation came as a result of a discussion on how good a corporate citizen Cable Bahamas could be.
And they also assisted a lot of other programs, and I really thank them and appreciate what they are doing for the youth in the nation.
And we do not take it for granted.
Welcome back to Our News. A new Indian-themed restaurant and wine cellar at the Rosewood, Baha launched over the weekend, bringing together the most quintessential Indian cooking traditions that promise to excite all of the senses. Titled after India's most famous explorer, whose name has now come to mean navigator, Mallam Indian Grill and Wine Cellar combines the unique flavors of the country's top traditional cooking styles with the fresh seafood found throughout Bahamian waters.
It's a little more elegant, traditional flavors, but a lot of love, a lot of passion, and a lot of authenticity and ethnicity from Indian cuisine. The food is very elegant, very simply presented, and as we say in India, Atiti Deva Bhava, we welcome the guest, and guest is God, and that's the ethos of the food as well.
A nod to the culinary traditions and styles of India. Mallam's exciting and eclectic menu offers small plates designed for sharing, with dishes ranging from vegetarian-friendly options to meat and seafood-heavy dishes bound to get your mouth watering.
Spiny lobster with coconut and turmeric. You get a nice fresh prawns with chili and coconut. You get a beautiful local grouper, pan-fried with spring onions and cilantro. You have a nice fried stuff. Who doesn't like fried stuff? And in Bahamas, fried is very popular.
Mallam's decor and ambiance are inspired by a global journey of discovery, spanning hundreds of years and thousands of miles, and evokes a vibrant sense of adventure. And then there's the wine. A whole lot of it.
I tell you, there are some Indian dishes that they really require a great bottle of wine. For example, we have great poultry, great seafood, a lot of the Pinot Noirs, some of the Zinfandel for the spicy food. But I would really recommend a great bottle of wine.
Once you're done with dinner at Mallam, the library and Manor Bar upstairs provide a bit of quiet relaxation, along with some of the best champagne you can think of. Rosewood Baha Managing Director LUIGI Romaniello said Mallam isn't just here for visitors, but locals as well, offering 20% off and free valet parking until January 30th.
So we got the Indian cuisine that is absolutely authentic, but with this lively and friendly Bahamian service, and it makes it for a really great combination for a great dinner.